Hey, the SOLs are coming up, so let's start working on some SOL problems. This is Virginia Standards of Learning, Grade 8 Math. I'm going to walk you through the entire paper and how to solve this really well. Okay, this is a sample test, but just let's very quickly do this. First, it says 3 views of a rectangular prism are shown. This is the front, right side, top. Look at the front. This is going from essentially to my right to the left. So obviously this is going this way. This doesn't work. This is going this way. It could be this. This is not going to work. Same reason. And then you've got this one going this way. So this could be it. Then it says the right side. So on this side, it's a top facing triangle. Obviously not this. So this has to be the answer. You don't even have to get to the top, but let's just do the top. The top, the semicircle faces outwards. So this is it. So we've checked this. So there you go. That's how you solve problems like this. Here is another one. What is the one solution for 5x plus 1 is equal to 7? Remember how we do these problems. 5x plus 1 is equal to 7. You want to get rid of 1 minus 1. Therefore, you also have to do that on this side. This is called your left hand side. I'm going to write that as LHS. And this is going to be your right hand side. That is going to be RHS. So now you've got this 1 goes away. So 5x is equal to 7 minus 1, which is 6. X is equal to 6 divided by 5. Your answer must be in the form of an improper fraction. Take a look at this. This is an improper fraction. An improper fraction means the numerator is greater than the denominator. So remember that. Okay, let's get to the next one. And these are the real questions. So as I go along, I'm going to explain the concepts to you as well. And again, if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Whenever you see a bracket, it means off. That means there is a multiplication sign. So whether it's a multiplication, whether it's off, or a dot, all those things mean multiplication. Just make sure it's not a decimal. 6 plus 2 whole squared. Now, what this equals to is 4 brackets. I'm just going to leave that. 6 plus 2 is 8. You always have to work with the ones in the brackets first. That's 8 to the power of 2. That's 4 times 8 squared is 64. Then that's obviously 64 times 4 is 4 4 is 16, 6, 256. That's your answer. Let's see. The principle here is PEMDAS. I know a lot of students write it like this, and it confuses them. This is what you should write this as. You should write P, which is parentheses or brackets, E for exponents, so we do that. Then you do M/D. Write it this way. That way it's very clear for you. Multiplication and division, whatever comes first going from left to right. Left to right, that is what you do. Whether it's multiplication or division, whatever comes first, multiplication, then you do the multiplication first. If it's division, you do the division first. These two are actually clubbed together, pieced together. Same thing with addition and subtraction. Write it this way. So if addition comes first, that's what you do. Always. All right? Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay. Here it says, what is the negative square root of 324? The best way to solve this is you divide these things into factors. So forget about the negative and forget about the square root. Let's just do 324. 324, obviously it's an even number. So that's 2 times, I'm just going to write it out here. 3, 2, 4, 2 2 ones are 2, 2 6 are 12, 2. So 162. 2 times 16, 162 is 324. Now, this, you could circle it, because it's 2 times 1, it can't go down any further. But this, I can do that as 2 times, obviously, 81. Right? I'm sorry I've circled it, I shouldn't have. But 81 goes 9 times 9. And then this continues 3 times 3. This is 3 times 3. Now, these you can circle. So these are the factors. Now, if you looked at all the circling factors here, I'm going to use this red pen here. These are all the distinct factors of 324. So 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. The square root of that, obviously, look them in twos. So that's 2 times 3 times 3. So this is, I got 1, 2 from here, 1, 3 from here, 1, 3 from here. So that's equal to 3 3s are 9, 9 2s are 18. So, but do not forget the negative. So that's negative 18. That's your answer. Again, think about how you first break down a number into factors and then how you take a square root. Okay. These types of problems are pretty simple. All that you have to do is they're saying x is equal to 2 and t is equal to 4, and this is the expression they've given you. All that you have to do is evaluate and then just plug them in. But let's do this way. X is equal to 2, so x cubed is, remember, x times x times x. That is equal to, if you were to substitute 2 in each of these things, that's 2 times 2 times 2. Use these dots and multiplications interchangeably, but please do that. 2 to the 4, 4 to the 8. So x cubed is 8. We know that. Then let's go to t square. T square is t times t. T is equal to 4, so 4 times 4. So t squared is equal to 16. So now I've got 2 answers here. X cubed is 8, t squared is 16. So let's just plug this in. All that you have to do is 1/8 brackets x cubed. I do 8 minus 4, and then brackets again. T squared is 16 plus 8. Remember the PEMDAS rule? Brackets always go first. So 1/8 brackets 8 minus 4 is 4. 16 plus 8 is 24. I can do this, instead of solving this first, I just have to write this as a1/8 times 4 times 24. When there are no signs in between brackets, remember, it's just a multiplication. Do not make that mistake. This is not 1/8 plus 4 or minus 4 or division 4 divided by 4. It's multiplied by. So here you get rid of the brackets here. So 4 times 2, and then 2 goes 12 times. So that's 12 is the answer. This one. Okay. Word problems are always interesting, and the best way to solve a word problem is to really think about what is it that they're saying and write it down. So a food company reduced the amount of salt in one of their food products from 700 milligrams. Okay, so salt, initially it was 700, instead of milligrams, I'm just going to write mg. It went down from there to 630 mg. What is the percentage decrease in the amount of salt in this food product? Percentage decrease or increase? Remember what you're trying to do. I was here, I went up this much, or I was already here, I fell down this much. So this is an increase and this is a decrease. Yeah, this is going up and this is going down. The way you measure that is you look at what it was. This is the original thing, right? And this is the final thing. So what is the original final minus the original divided by the original? So how much have I grown starting from your base? Let's use that concept. You've got 700 mg to 630 mg. That means you have the final is 630 minus the original is 700. So this is negative 70. Negative means automatically it means a decrease. What was the original amount? It's 700, sorry. So this is the actual decrease and this is the original. The way you calculate a percentage is simply multiply by 100. That the 0 gets canceled here. That's 7 times 10. So that is a negative 10%. That means 10% or, you could put it as negative 10% or 10% decrease. What it says here is percentage decrease, so obviously it's 10%. This is an interesting problem. A lot of students ask, what is rational, irrational? Again, let me know if you've got any more questions on this. But the simplest way to remember this is irrational numbers are not rational. I know this sounds like, what the hell is he talking about? Of course, they're not rational. But the way you deal with this, the definition of that would be, can a number be expressed as can a number be expressed as a ratio of two integers? If it can, if yes, then it's a rational number. If no, then it's an irrational number. This is the easiest way to remember it, but let's just very quickly go through this. Negative 10, that's an integer. You could just put it as negative 20 by 2, so this is possible. Again, most integers, whole numbers, they're obviously not irrational. So this is negative 3. Root 17, we'll come back to that. 5.499, it seems, we don't know if it's recurring, it just take it for its face value, it's for 5.499. Now root 17, see, root 16 would be 4. Root 17 has got to be greater than 4 something, but you don't know how it can be represented as a ratio of two integers. It cannot, in fact. So therefore, root 17 would be the irrational number. Again, do brush up on your rational and irrational, and let me know if you've got any questions. Again, the ratio of two integers. 17 is a prime number, so it only has itself and a number 1, so it's very easy. So another few examples of irrational numbers are root 2, pi, etc. So just think about that. Okay, look at this one. Identify each number between 1.7 times 10 to the power of 0 and 195%. Let's look at the best way to solve these problems is always in mathematics. Look at each step, solve them, and then combine them. So 1.7 times 10 to the power of 0. You should know this by now. Any number to the power of 0 is 1. So 1.7 times 1 is basically 1.7. So that's one number. The second number is 195%, which is basically equal to 195 divided by 100, which is 1.95. So these are the two numbers. It says identify each number between this and this. Now look at this. 10 to the power of 1 is 10. 1.8 times 10, obviously the decimal comes over here, so that's 18, so this cannot be the case. This number lies somewhere between 1 and 2, obviously, because this is 1 and 7/8. If it were 8/8, that would be 2. So this is somewhere, we'll come back to this. Obviously not 18.5. You can eliminate that because we're looking at numbers from 1.7 to 1.95. 7 by 4, this is easy because it's basically 3 by 4, which is 1.75. 3 by 4 is 0.75. So this number applies. So that's an answer. And then this number, 7 by 8, 8 8s are 64. So 0.88 is 64, 607, it's 1.87. So obviously this one also agrees to this equation. So these are the two numbers, 1.7 and 7 by 4. Okay, let's look at this. Dora bought a total of 48 cupcakes. Each cupcake cost 55 cents, including tax. Of the cupcakes, she bought 3/8 were vanilla cupcakes. What is the total cost of only the vanilla cupcakes? All that you have to do is to first figure out how many vanilla cupcakes there were. So there are 48 cupcakes in all, of which 3/8 are vanilla. Now that should be easy. 6 8s are 48, 6 3s are 18 vanilla cupcakes. And each of them are 55 cents. So 18 times, this is another interesting trick I'm going to show you. Instead of trying to multiply, if you can multiply this, please go ahead and do that. But always breaking it down into fractions. So would make it very easy. 55, obviously 2 zeros, so 100. Let's see how this goes. 5 11s are 55, 5 20s are 100, 2 10s are 20, 2 9s. So 11 times 9 is 99 divided by 10, which is 9.9. This is easy, isn't it? This is it, $9.90. So breaking down into fractions and multiplying and getting rid of factors, it's an easy way to multiply long numbers, especially with fractions. Now look at this one. It says, which list of numbers is ordered from greatest to the least? So greatest is most, the highest, and this is the least. Okay, 52% is 0.52, obviously. Remember everything, all the dimensions or what format these numbers are, they should all be similar so that you can actually compare. Obviously 3.1 times 10 is 10 to the power of 1 is 10. So 3.1, this would be 31. So obviously this is the greatest. It says, is this ordered? So you can just rule this out. This can't be the answer. You could see 3.1 here again in 52. So this cannot be the answer because 31 is always greater than 0.52. So these are the two things that seem okay. You know, this is starting off right. So this is 31. Then I've got 52, and now I've got to look at 10 divided by 11. So 0.09s are 99 ones. So that is what this is. 10 by 11 is 0.09, and this is 0.52. Obviously 0.52 is greater than this, so this is the right approach. So this is your answer. I hope that's clear. Okay. Emil bought a camera for $268.26, including tax, made a down payment of $12 and paid the balance in 6 equal monthly payments. What was Emil's monthly payment for this camera? Okay, so that's a very simple thing. $268.26. That's $268.26. Made a down payment, so that means he's already paid $12. Well, how much remains? 26 cents. 6, 5, 256 and 26 cents is remains. And the rest, so this is the remaining. This is the rest. That is being divided into 6 monthly equal payments. So all that you have to do is to divide this by 6. So it's obviously 6 4s are 24, 6 2s are 12, 4 carryover, 6 7s are. So 42.7. Which one is this? You don't even have to calculate the last one. This is it, 42. In fact, I could have stopped right here. It's 42 the minute I know. That's the answer. Okay. If you know concepts very well, then it really doesn't matter what they throw at you. If you understand the basic concepts really well, instead of focusing on tips and tricks and stuff like that, this is actually going to help you do very well, not just in your exams, and just the way you approach learning. That is a critical concept here. If you understand the fundamentals, if you understand the basics, then you can learn as much as you can and as much as you want to, and you can grow and be excellent in your studies. So let's take a look at this. Which pair of numbers are both between 6 and 7? Okay, think about this. These are all square roots. So what would square of 6 would be? 36. 7 square is 49. Yeah? Which pair of numbers are both between 6 and 7? Look at that. If I take a square root of this, that's 6. If I take a square root of 49, that becomes 7. So obviously 36 and 49. Hope that's clear. Okay, what does this say? Kyle caught 9 insects for his subjects in the first week. So week 1 is 9 insects. He caught 13 insects in the second week. Week 2 is 13. What is the percentage increase in the number of insects caught from the first week to the second week? Round your answer to the nearest whole number. Again, remember, this is the start, this is the finish. So 13 minus 9, that's the difference. Where did it start? It started at 9 times 100. That's your percentage. So that's basically 4 divided by 9 times 100. Now, this is just an old trick that I know, that any number divided by 9 is basically a recurring. It goes off into 0.111. So 4 divided by 9 is basically 0.444. 4 times 100. Or you could just use a calculator or do the division the right way. What you will get is 44.44 because it's rounding to the nearest whole number. Remember, this is less than 0.5, so this should be 44%. That's your answer. Okay. Which number in this list is not an integer? Let's look at this. This is pretty simple. 4 times 3 is 12. Minus 4 squared. The way they write these things is sometimes confusing, simply because you should have technically a brackets here. It means this. So because if it is minus 4 whole squared, it basically means minus 4 times minus 4, which is plus 16. This one, when you write it like this, it basically says minus 16 because this is minus 4 times 4. So this is minus 16. Root 25 is 5 and negative 4.8. So all these are integers. Obviously, this is a decimal, so this is not an integer. This is the answer. What statement best describes root 50? It's good to remember the squares. So again, 49, square root of 49 is 7, because 7 sevens are 49. So root 50 would be a little bit more than 7. So it's got to be somewhere between 7 and 8, because 8 squared is 64. So the root of 64 is 8. So root of 50 obviously lies somewhere between 7 and 8. So this is the answer. Okay, we've seen these kinds of problems before. 8 by 3 n cubed when n is 3 by 2. Always evaluate this first. N cubed is n. If it's confusing to you, write it out. Always a good habit. Now you substitute that for 3 by 2. So that's n cubed. I'm just putting equal to 3 3s are 9, 9 3s are 27, divided by 2 2s are 4, 4 2s are 8. So now you're saying, what is 8 by 3 times 27 by 8? Remember, this is easy. You get rid of this. This is numerator multiplication. They go away. This one goes into 27 9 times. So that's your answer. Okay. Find the rectangle for the rectangle shown. Which equation can be used to find the value of x? Anytime you see a rectangle and a hypotenuse and it's a right angle, remember the Pythagoras theorem, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, or basically where a and b are the sides of a triangle and c is the hypotenuse. Yeah, so that should be easy. This is the hypotenuse, so that's 12 squared is equal to, one side is 5, so that's 5 squared plus the other side is x, so x squared. 12 squared is equal to 5 squared plus x squared, which is the same thing as this one. You know, they write things like that, so just be careful. It says 5 squared plus 12 squared is x squared. It's not. It's not x plus 5 whole squared. Again, these are not the brackets. It's individual terms. So be very, very careful about that. What is the area of this polygon? There are many ways to solve this. All ways are right, but I'll show you a couple of ways and you can take a look. This is simply an aggregation of squares or rectangles or some kind of a quadrilateral and triangles. As long as you know what the area, how to calculate the area of these things are, you should be fine. But you have to focus a little bit. Let's see if you can break this down into rectangles. So the easiest way I think I can do this, and you could come up with a completely different answer or a completely different method, you'll have the same answer. I'll say, hey, look, this is one rectangle. Now, I know that this whole thing is 12, and I know this is 5. That's all I really need to know to find the area of this particular polygon. Yeah? This 6 and 8, I'll put them aside. This is 5, which is the width. 12 is length. So 12 times 5 is 60 centimeter squared. Always remember the units, centimeter. Now, if this is 12, this whole thing, and this is 4, obviously this one is 12 minus 4, or 8. Yeah, is that clear? So this is 8. Now let's see how we calculate. They're saying this is 3, okay? I know this is also 8, okay? And now, how do I find, oh, sorry, this 8 is the whole thing all the way from here to here. I missed that. So even I make mistakes. So if this is 5, so obviously this is 8 minus 5, so that's 3. So you see that? This is 8. This whole thing is 8, not just this one. This is 5, so this is 3. So now this is easy. This is 60. This one is, what did we say here? 8 times 3, which is 24 centimeters squared. And then the area of this triangle is half base into height. Half, your base is times 3. Height is 8, so that's 4, 4 3, so that's 12 centimeters squared. So now you just have to add these three numbers up. Yeah, so it's 60 plus 24 plus 12. That's 84, 94, 96 centimeters squared. That's your answer. Yeah, you just have to be very careful about looking at these numbers and see how far they go and how low they go, or where they end and start. This is about translation. Translation basically means movement. You're not going to see anything else. It's not a rotation. I'm just going to walk you through a couple of things, or a reflection. So let's see, what is this? which grid shows a translation? Now, if you look at this one is at the top, this one goes to the bottom. So it's basically a reflection on this x-axis. If you think about a mirror, that's exactly, if you were to put a mirror, just pick a mirror and just put it there, and you'll see this is the reflection of that. So this is a reflection, it's not a translation. This one is actually pretty simple. All that it's done is shifted one unit, and it's gone from here to here on the other side. So this is a translation. This one is not a translation because now in order to get to this, you've had to rotate it and move to the other side. So it's gone this way, right? So that's clockwise rotation. And same thing here. This actually is an interesting thing. This is a reflection. It should be a reflection on this side. This goes here, yeah. Actually, no, this is a reflection and a rotation on this side. But just wanted to give you all the things. This is the only translation here. Supplementary, the minute you see that, that means angles. Actually, sum of angles is equal to 180 degrees. So see which ones get to 180. This gets to 90. Remember, if you get to 90, it means complementary angles. 83 and 33, that's not 180. 97 and 83 here, this is 180. So this is the answer. Okay, let's look at this one. Dwight drew a line segment on a coordinate grid. He plans to reflect the line segment over the y-axis. So this is the y-axis and reflection. So essentially, it just moves over in that other direction. Graph the new line segment. Look at this. This stays as is. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it goes 4 things this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's your 1 point. And then let's look at the end point here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, you could have also looked at this. This is 8. So I'm going to go up to 8 and 2. And that would be my reflection. Because you put it this way, how it looks, that's your reflection. Okay. John has 2 rectangular prisms. The length of a second prism is 10 times the length of the first prism. Okay, so this is the first prism and this is the second prism. We don't know, we're just going to call it L, but we know the second prism is 10 times L, okay? The heights and the widths of the 2 prisms are the same. So the height is this, height is this, width, height, all these things are the same. Which best describes the volume? The volume is always basically length times width times height. So you do that, it's essentially 10 times length times width times height. This is the volume, so it's basically 10 times the volume of the first prism, this one. It's a pretty straightforward question. This figure is formed by a square. This is an important thing, just note that. So if this is a square, so it's likely this is your square. So if this is 10, obviously sides are all equal. So this is 10, this is 10, this is 10. And it's an isosceles trapezoid. Isosceles means the 2 sides are, the non-parallel sides are equal. So remember, this is parallel to this. So these are the new non-parallel sides, this one and this one. So if this is 5, then this is also 5. It says, what is the perimeter? That's simple. 4 plus 5, 9, plus 5, another 5, 14. Then this plus 10, 24, plus 10, 34, plus 10, 44. That's your 44 inches. That's your perimeter. You don't have to obviously count this because that's not really the perimeter. The perimeter is always what's on the outside. Okay, let's look at this. The radius of a base of a cone is 6 inches. Always good to draw diagrams. I want a cone, and this is a radius. The height of a cone is 6 inches. All right. What is the closest volume? It's good to know the volume of a cone. It's essentially pi r squared h by 3. That's the volume of a cone. The way I remember this is, look, first, what's the area of a circle? Obviously pi r square. Remember, if you want to make a volume of cube or anything like that, you have to do the base area times the height. So you're just doing this times height, and then it's the third of that, because if it were a full thing, then it would be almost 3 times as much. So pi r squared h by 3. Now, all that you have to do is to substitute that. Pi r squared is 6 times 6, or 6 times 6, that's 36. Height, is also 6 by 3. So that goes away 2. So 6 is 36 times 2, 72 pi. Pi is approximately equal to 3.14 times 72. Or the other way you could solve this is, I could do it this way too. 72 divided by times 3.14 can also be written as 22 by 7. Either way, just go ahead and multiply that, and I'm just going to use a very quick calculator. Actually, let me try to do this. 72 times 3 is 210 plus 6, so somewhere around 226 should be the answer. There you go. All that I did was look at 72 times 3. 72 times 3, that's 6, 21. Obviously, 0.14 times 72. It's a decimal, so it'll be something. It's not going to be huge. It's not going to be 100 to 400 more as it is here. So it's got to be somewhere around 226. That's the closest answer you can get to 216. One piece of stained glass is transformed 3 times. Okay, what transformation was used to create this section of stained glass window? Look at this. All that they've done is to move from this thing, you've just moved it here, moved it here, moved it here. It's basically a translation. Just translate. Go from one place to the other. 3-dimensional figure is constructed using identical cubes. 3 views of the figure are shown. Front. Okay, so this is 3 times 3. So let's see, there are 3 here. There are 2 here. There is a big block missing here, so it's not this from the front. Let's continue with the front. Would they get this? No, there is still a block here. Oh, sorry. This is the front. I apologize. So the front is basically this way. Yeah, that's the front. Sorry about that. Yeah, so you can see 3 and 3 here. You won't be able to see the difference. So this works, this works. There is 3 and 3 and 3 and 3. I don't think this is going to help us. The front is not going to help us. The top. Now the top is this way. This is your top. So in top, you're saying you've got 3, yeah, and then another 3, and then just 2 here. Okay, so this could work. Let's see, 3. Oops, this only has 2. It doesn't have 3, so this is not going to work. Let's cross this out. 3, yeah, and then also 3, and then 2, so this could work. So these 2 could work. And then 3, this is again just 2, so this is not going to work. See, I'm looking at the top, so you're looking at from here, and then you'll see there's a space here and there's a space here. So obviously it's between these 2 things. And now it says right side, so you're looking at it from this side. L shape, both of them are L shape, but then there is this one little cube. So which one? If you were to look at it from this way, this is going to be smooth. This is the only thing. You see this, and then there is that little yellow thing. So this is the answer. This obviously doesn't exist as well. It's wrong. Okay. The wire connects the top of a flagpole to the ground as shown. Okay, what is the closest height? H. Again, this is a right angle triangle. The minute you see that, you know the Pythagoras theorem, which is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, or the sides squared, side 1, side 2, and this is the hypotenuse. So let's just simply do that. Remember, the hypotenuse is this one. So 10 squared is equal to 5 squared plus 8 squared. That's what they're asking you to solve. It's simply 10 squared is 100. This is 25 plus 8 squared. I can also obviously want to get rid of 25, so minus 25 on both sides. That gives you 75 is equal to, this gets cancelled, 8 squared. So h is essentially the root of 75. Now, before you try to solve, of course, if you can do it, great. But again, if you remember the numbers, 8 8s are 64. So 8 square is 64. 9 square is 81. So the root of 64 is 8, the root of 81 is 9. So the root of 75 has got to be somewhere between 8 and 9. What is the only number between 8 and 9? This one. That's a quick way to do it. Okay. Raymond needs to cover the entire surface of the square-based pyramid with paper. Okay, Raymond, that's very nice. What is the minimum amount of paper he would need? Okay, so all that you have to do is, what is the surface area of this thing? This is a square base, so if this is 12, obviously this is also 12. Now let's just do this first. The square area of a square is 12 times 12. It's base side times side, which is 144 feet squared. Never forget the units. It's a good way to check for everything. Now you've got one triangle, 2, 3, 4. So square has 4 sides, so obviously you've got 4 faces. So each triangle, this one is basically half times base times height. The base is 12, and your height, is 11. So that goes into 6 times, so that's 66 feet squared. So each face, each triangle face is 66. Now you've got 4, so 4 faces is equal to 66 times 4. 24, sorry, 6 4s are 24, 24, 264. So that is your total area for just the triangles. Now do not forget to add the square. So it's 264 plus 144. That's 8,408 feet square. Most people tend to forget that they've calculated the area of the square base. Do not do that. You need that. It's the square base plus all the 4 sides. So that's your answer, 408. Okay. Look at these angles. All right. Identify each angle that is adjacent to angle 2. It's basically questioning what is next to each of them. So adjacent to angle 2, this is angle 2. Angle 1 is next to it, and angle 4 is next to it. So this one and this one. That's it. This would be opposite, and this is not adjacent. Adjacent means right next to each other. And for the angles to be adjacent, like the lines have to be adjacent. So remember that. These 3-dimensional figures are always a hassle, but once you get used to them, I think you'll find them to be easy. Front view, again, front, so it's this way, front, front. Let's look at this. There are 3 at the bottom, 3 in the middle, 1 at the top. 3 at the bottom. This one, I can see 1 here, that's right. 2 here, I can see that, but I don't see anything here. 3. So I don't think this is it. This is gone. Let's look at this. 3 here, and 1 here. So this could work. 3 here, this line of sight, yeah, 3 here and 1 here. This could work. 3 Yes, because this is going to be obstructing that. So that could work. That's 3, and this could work. 3, 3, 1, that could work. 3, and this is also this thing. 3, it should, looks like it. Yes, 3, 3, and 1. All right. So we got rid of 1. Now let's look at the right side. So it's this way, right side. And you want to L, just 1. So 1, 2, 3. Yes, you will see that. You will see only 1 there. And then, oh, why am I even looking at that? This is 3 here. No, this you'll see this. So this is not possible. This is 2. This is 2, 2. So this is not going to work. Let's look at that. 3, 1, and 2. This could work. 3, that's 1, just 1, and then 2. That could work. 3, oh, this is not going to work because it's just 1 here. It needs to be 2 stacks. So if this is not going to work. Now let's look at this way. Looking at this side, you'll see 3 and 1. Yes, nothing in between, and then 2. So these 3. Now you got to look at the top view and see which other 2 you can eliminate. Actually, it says identify each 3-dimensional that could represent. So it could be more than 1. This is an important thing, folks. Remember this. Identify each 3-dimensional could be represented. It could be more than 1. So if you get more than 1, don't think you're wrong. Now, top view. So that means top view, you're looking in this way. You want 3 on this side, 3 on this side, and 1 in between. So 3, I can see that. 3, I can see that. 1, so this could work, absolutely. 3, no, because I'll see 1, 2, I'll see a huge block here, and then 3 here, so this is not going to work. I will see 3 here, I will see 3 here, and then I will see only 3. So actually these 2 might work. So these are both the right answers. These 2 things. Just go back, look at my explanation. I think it should be self-explanatory, but if you don't, please let me know and I'll try to explain it again. What is the solution of the equation? These are pretty simple single variable equations. Bring all the variables to one side and move all the constants to the other side. So essentially, if you want to get rid of x here, you say minus x here. So this goes away. 0, obviously x minus x. 5x minus x is 4x plus 6. You want to bring this to the other side. So it's basically minus 6 minus 6. This goes away, so you'll get 4x is equal to minus 6, which is the same thing as writing minus 6 is equal to 4. 4x, it's the same way. It doesn't make any difference. Now you want to get rid of 4, so divide that by 4, divide this by 4. These get cancelled. X is equal to, obviously, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, negative 3 by 2. That's your answer. This is it. What is the solution? Negative 3 by 2. I know some people try to plug these in. You could also do that. I think once you get used to this way of bringing things onto one side, you'll be able to solve very complicated problems later on. It's just good to know. And once you know this, you'll get very fast at this. You know, you don't even have to write out most of these things. You do it in your head almost, like, oh, this is 4x plus 6 is equal to 0, and, you know, so on and so forth. Which line appears to contain both ordered pairs shown in this table? X is 2, y is 0, x is 0, and y is 4. So let's look at each pair at one time. 2 and 0. X is 2. Is there a 2? If it is a 2, that means it's got to be passing through this somewhere over here. So this doesn't work. 2 and 0, yes, it passes. And then the other thing they say is 0 and minus 4, but this is 0 and plus 4, so that doesn't work. This is 2 and 0, yes. And this is 0, x is 0, obviously, because it's in the y-axis, and minus 4. So this is the thing that works. Let's just double check. This is, again, minus 4 and 0. So this is the x is minus 4. here, so that's not going to work either. So this one is your right answer. Identify each equation that illustrates the cumulative property of multiplication. It says, what is the commutative property? Commutative property is essentially the order of terms does not matter. So A times B is the same thing as B times A. That's your commutative property. So X times Y plus 3, Y times X plus 3. Yes, that's commutative property. 6X plus 42, that's just breaking down the brackets. If this had been written as, let's say, for example, X plus 7 times 6, then that would have been commutative property, but that's not the way they've written this, so this is not. Then I've got 3X plus this. All that they've moved at is the brackets, and there's no multiplication here, so this is not it. 4 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 4, so this is it. This is again 12 plus minus 3 minus 3. That is addition. That is not multiplication. So these are the two correct answers. The hourly wages of 25 employees at a restaurant are shown. Okay. This is the number of employees, and this is the hourly wage in dollars. So there are 8 employees here, and there are 10 employees here, and there are 6 employees here, and there's probably 1 employee here, and they're getting $8. This is right. I like to put units, signs, just so that it's easy for me to understand. Based on the graph, what is the mean hourly rate of wage of 25 employees at these restaurants? Okay, so this involves a little bit of math. All that you have to do is to say 8 employees. Each of them get 8, so that's 8 times 8. 10 employees get $9 an hour, so that's 10 times 9. 6 people get $10, so 6 times 10, and 1 person gets 20. So this is the total amount of money these 25 people make. So that's 64, 90, 60, 20. So let's add them up. 15 plus 6, 21. 21 plus 2 is 23. And then divided by 24. So that's the total wages. I'm looking at the average. What is that equal to? Obviously 25 times 9 would be 25. Yes, 25 times 10 would be 250. So 25 times 9 would be 225. So it's a little over 9. So, 9.36. This should be it. What value effects makes this equation? Okay, so the best way, always get the same types of terms on one side. So this is 5x, 3x, 6x. So on this side, obviously, so that's 8x. 5x plus 3x is 8x plus 8 is equal to 26 plus 6x. I want to get rid, obviously, this is 8 it's easier to calculate that way. So I'm going to make the lower term go this way. So subtract 6x, subtract 6x. I'll get 2x plus 8 is equal to 26. Once you get really good at this, you can do multiple things, but just easier this way. Want to get rid of 8, so minus 8 from this side, minus 8 from this side. So that's 2x is equal to 26 minus 8, which is 18. Therefore, x, you obviously divide this by 2, divide this by 2. X, this goes away, x is 9. That should be pretty straightforward. Which line appears to be the graph of the equation y is equal to minus 2x minus 1? These are always interesting things. The best way to do that is you draw a table this way. One is x, one is y, and then you do about 2 or 3 points. If x is 0, what would y be? Obviously, minus 2 times 0 is 0, so y should be equal to minus 1. Are we clear about that? So x is 0, so this becomes 0, minus 1, so y is equal to minus 1. So let's look at this. X is 0, so somewhere on the y-axis, where is it minus 1? This is minus 1. That looks like it. Okay, that works. There is no minus 1 here. It's not going anywhere on minus 1, so you can rule this out. This one is actually not, this is x is minus 1, not y. There is no minus 1 here on y. You can rule that out. In fact, this is easier than I thought. Minus 1, this is ruled out. Obviously, I didn't even have to do much. It's just try for x is equal to 0 and see what that works out. And that's the answer. Two fair coins are flipped at the same time. What is the probability that both display tails? Okay, this should be pretty straightforward. Probability. How do you calculate probability? There are two sides to a coin, so you could have two possible answers, but you can only get one answer at a time. It's either a heads or a tails. The probability that one displays a tail is 1/2, and because they're doing it at the same time, it's the second coin is also 1/2, which is basically the probability that both display tails is 1/4. That's it. Which graph appears to contain all the ordered pairs in this relation? Okay, so these are the points basically, -2 and -1. Sometimes I like to write it like this, just it's easier for me to read. So because I know these are the coordinates of a point. So let's see, -2, x is, and this is x, and this is y. X is -2. Is there a -2 anywhere around here? Nope. Is there a -2 around here on x side? X and nope. There is no, oh, there is a -2 and a -1. Oh, actually, this also has a -2 and a -1. I'm sorry. There is a -2 here and a -1. Okay, so this, I do not see a -2 and a -1, so you can rule this out. I do see a -2, so these three things. Okay, this eliminates it. Then x is 1 and y is 2. X is 1 and y is 2. That works. X is 1 and y is 1, so that doesn't work. X is 1 and y is 2. Oops, this also works for this one, but I've got rid of 2. Options. Now 4 and 3. So x is 4. Let's look at this. 4 and y is actually 5. So that's not going to work. Let's check this. X is 4 and y is 3. Yes, so this is it. That's a pretty straightforward way of doing this. Okay. Which graph best represents the solution? Solve for this equation. Again, bring all the same terms on one side. Let's look at this. So it's 7/8 is greater than or equal to 1/4 x plus half. You want to get rid of this half. You want to leave that, so -half. This is -half. Now, remember how we solve for fractions? 7/8 minus half. You always want to make sure that the denominators are the same. So if you want to make 4 into 8, you multiply this by 4, and you multiply also the numerator by 4. So this is basically 7/8 minus 4/8. 7, because the denominator is the same, you can subtract the numerators, so that's 3/8. Yeah, so we got taken care of that. You got 3/8 is greater than or equal to 1/4 x. You want to get rid of the 4, multiply this side by 4, and multiply this side by 4. 4 get cancelled, and then I have 2 remains. So it's basically saying 3/2 is greater than or equal to x, or x is less than or equal to 3/2. All that I've done is to just, flip these things around. Remember, in inequalities, if you have signs and if you flip them, the signs change. But because there is no negative, you don't have to flip any signs. So x is less than or 3 by 2, so which is 1.5. Basically, 3 by 2 is 1.5. Let's look at this. This is 1, 2, so 1.5 is this. So it's less than, it includes this, and it's going this way. So this is the answer. None of these things matter because this is not 1.5, this is less than 1.5. It says it's less than and or equal to. This equal to, remember that line sign. Okay, which of these best describes the relationship of data shown in the scatter plot? These points, these data are all over the place. It's not a constant, it's not a negative, not a positive. Any of these things either have some kind of constant like this, or some kind of a linear progression, so all the dots are in this way, or there's got to be some pattern. This, can you draw a pattern? No, they're like multiple random patterns, so there is no relationship. That's the best way I would look at it. What is the solution of n plus 4 by 2 minus 3 is equal to 13? This is pretty straightforward. Remember, this is one expression, so I'm going to write this as n plus 4 divided by 2 minus 3 is equal to 13. I want to get rid of this 3, so add 3 here, add 3 here. That becomes n plus 4 divided by 2. 3 goes away. This becomes 16. I want to get rid of this 2. Multiply this whole thing by 2. Multiply this by 2. 2 cancel out, so n plus 4 is equal to 32. I want to get rid of this 4, so negative 4 here, negative 4 here. So that's n is equal to 28. This is your answer. N is equal to 28. The graph shows Anna's height on each of her last 5 birthdays. So age 8. Always take some time to understand what data is being shown. So this is the age, 8 years, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Obviously, it's only up to 12. And then this is the height in inches. So it starts off at 50 and goes to 60. The first thing is, based on the graph, between which 2 consecutive years was the increase in Anna's height the greatest? The height grade, how great it is, it's whatever is the steepest. So obviously, this is not that steep. So I can rule this out. This is pretty steep. This is not as steep as this one, so I can rule this out. And this is also pretty steep. Now, I don't know whether it's this one or this one. So between 8 and 9, or is it 10 and 11? That is what I'm really looking at. But if you look at this, between 8 and 9, it went 1, 2, 3 units. It went from 50 to 53, so that's 3 units. But from 10 to 11, it went from 55 to 59, so it went 5 units in 10 to 11. So obviously it's 10 to 11. It's pretty, that's one way of eliminating it. If you can't do that, if you really want to look at everything, please look at it. So this should be 3. Obviously this is 2, this is 5, and then this, you can see the last one is just 1. But either way, the steepest slope is when you have the greatest increase or decrease. Which best represents y is equal to x minus 1? Again, remember the way I showed you. Always look at x, y. If x is 0, y is negative 1. So if x is 0, is y negative? So this is not going to work. I don't have a 0 here, so I can't rule that out. Let's look at this. If x is 0, y is negative 1. This is, nope, this is x is negative 1, so this is not going to work. And if x is 0, y is this could work. So these two are still in running, B and D. Let's look at another one. Oh, let's actually look at this. 3, 2, 6, 4. So if x is 3, is this 2? Yes, so this equation holds. If x is 6, is this equal to? No. So see, if y, if x is equal to 6, 6 minus 1, that should be 5. Here it's saying it's 4, so this doesn't work. So the only one remaining is this one. But you can always double check that. But this is the equation. So if you look at here again, x is 6. So let's see, where is 6? It's somewhere over here. And y is equal to 5. So as you can see, this is 5, x is 6, and 5. So that's how it works. What is the range of this relationship, of this relation? Remember, domain in a function are basically your x coordinates. Range are basically your y coordinates. So if they're saying what is the range in the relationship, in this relation that you see here, range is all the y's. So it's 2, 4. So I'm just going to write it down. 2, 4, 5, and 1. So 1, 2, 4, and 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 4, and 5. This is it. Remember, range is y coordinates. So you're looking at these ones for the y coordinates for these points. So this is 2. So this coordinate is 1, 2, right? So you're looking at 2. This is 2, 4. So you're looking at 4. This is 4, 5. You're looking at 5. This is 6, 1. So you're looking at 1. That's how you get the range. If somebody were to ask you what the domain was, then what do you think this is? So this is range. The domain would be 1, 2, 4, and 6. 1, 2, 4, and 6. This would be the domain. But this is the right answer because we're looking at the range. Okay, what is the solution of this inequality? Okay, let's look at it again. Try to get rid of this. So it is going to be minus 4 here, minus 4 here. Again, the easiest way to do it is you can always flip it if you find it confusing. 4 minus 1.6 is, what is it, 2.4. Because it's 1.6 minus 4, it's going to be negative. So this goes away. So it's negative 2.4 is greater than or equal to 0.8x. Now you want to get rid of this 0.8. I'm going to divide that by 0.8. 0.8, again, decimal. So that you can bring the decimal over on numerator, denominator on each side. So that's negative 3 is greater than, equal to, this thing goes away, x. So this is your answer. This is negative 3 is greater than or equal to x. This one. What is the greatest value in the range? Range, again, remember, is y. For the domain minus 2, 0, 1, 3. So if x were to take any of these things, what would be the greatest thing? Now, the simplest way to do it, if you had 0 or any positive, well, let me take it back. If you want to do it the brute force way, yes, you would substitute each number and look at what the y is. So you will put x is equal to 0. So if x is equal to 0, then y is equal to 0 plus 3, so 3. Now you could do it that way. But think about it. There is a negative 5 here times x. Any negative times a 0 or a positive number is going to be, sorry, any times that times a 0 is 0, but any negative number times a positive number is negative. So that means you're taking a negative number and adding something. How can it be the greatest? It can't. But if you were to look at a negative number, so if I were to say y is equal to minus 5 times minus 2 plus 3, now this becomes plus 10 because negative times negative is plus 3, which is 13. So this should be it. But you could always solve for each of these things if you want to. But think about these ways of doing these problems. You know, again, if you understand the concepts and if you can string concepts together, that's going to be really very effective for you. Which table contains only points that lie on the line represented by y is equal to 2 by 3x minus 3? Okay. Let's see. Let's start. And the best way to do it is just start with the first one here. If x is 0, y is equal to minus 6. Yes, this works. Now let's look at the other one. If x is 9, so if this is 9, so it will be 2 by 3 times 9 minus 6, which is 3, 3. 6 minus 6 is 0, so this is not going to work. This is one of those things where you just have to plug it in and just figure it out. You know that, oh, we've already solved for x, so you can just rule this out. It's no longer 0 and 6, because you know if it's 0, it has to be minus 6, so this cannot be true. Let's look at this. Minus 3 and minus 8 and 6 and 2. So minus 3. So let's look at it. Y is equal to 2 by 3 times minus 3 minus 6. This should be equal to, that's negative 6 by 3 minus 6. So that's negative 2 minus 6 is minus 8. So that works. Let's look at the other one. Y is equal to 2 by 3 times 6. 3 2's minus 6, sorry. 3 2's is 6. 4 minus 6 is minus 2. So this works, actually. Let's just double check. It should be, if you're in a hurry, if you're almost at 45 or 50, they should go, but I just like to double check things. So 2 by 3 times negative 3 minus 6. So that's minus 2 minus 6. Oh, that's minus 8. This is minus 4, so we're good. So this is not it, and this is the only answer. The graph shows the number of text messages 2 students sent each day for 4 days. Okay. One is Kayla and the other one is Paul. So this is Kayla and this is Paul. I just like to write things along as I try to read this data. And this is 5, this is 4, this is 6, this is 7, this is 3, this is 5, this is 4, and this is 2, right? So just so that I have it, because these are long statements. It says on day 2 and day 3, okay, so this is 2 and 3, the total number of text messages sent by Paul. So day 2 and Paul sent 7 plus 5, that's 12. Was 4 more than the total number of messages sent by Kayla. So Kayla sent 6 plus 3, that's 9. 12 minus 3, 12 minus 9 is 3, so not 4. So this cannot be true. I'll rule it out. The total number of text messages sent by Kayla was the same as the total number sent by Paul for these 4 days. Oh, okay, so let's look at Kayla. Here, I'm just going to write it out here. 5 plus, see, this is why it makes it easy. 6 plus 3 plus 4. Paul is 4 plus 7 plus 5 plus 2. 10 plus 8 is 18. Let's look at this. 7, 14, 18. Actually, this is right. So this is it. Because there's just one option, I just go with this and then we're good. The scatter plot shows the relationship between Marvin's age and the time it took him to run a mile. So as the age is going up, the time to run is obviously going down. So when he was 11 years old, he was taking 7 minutes to run a mile. And now when he's 17, it takes 15 minutes to run a mile. Okay? So which statement best describes the relationship between Marvin's age and the time it takes to run a mile? Obviously, even without looking at these things, it means as the age is growing, the time is decreasing, and that's what you really have to focus on. So as Marvin's age increased, it took him to run a mile. The time it took him to run a mile increased. That's not true. It's dropping, so this is not it. As Marvin's age increased, the time it took to run a mile decreased. This is it. Let's just very quickly read through the other ones just to make sure that we're not missing something else. As Marvin's age increased, the time it took remains constant. That's not true. Constant would have been like this, all dots here. It's decreasing. There is no relationship between Marvin's age. That is also not true, because we know that there is a relationship because it's decreasing. Okay. Okay, what do we have here? What is which relation has the domain? Remember, domain is X, range is Y. We've been through this multiple times, so come back to this. This is the domain, so X is 3, 5, and 8. So let's see, X, you have 3, 5, 8, 3. So this seems to work. 3, 5, 8, 1. No, there's no 1, so this not work. Actually, I know that the first one because we just checked it, but we can check it again. 2, 1, 3. So 1 is not included. 3, 5, 3. Oh, look at this. You might think this is the right answer, but it doesn't contain 8. So you must have at least one number each time. So 3, 5, 8. So this is the only answer. So all these things are wrong, except for A. That's your answer. Okay, click on the grid to plot each ordered pair. So the first one is -2, 2. Okay, so this is X is -2 and Y is 2, so that one. This is X is 4, -1, so X is 4 and Y is -1, so it's this one. And 8 and -3, so 8 would be here, and -3, obviously -Y would be here, this one. There, so that is what you have to click. Okay, we've come to the last 50 out of 50. A box contains 9 new light bulbs. So new is 9. Used is 6. So what is the total? 15. Total is 15 bulbs. Each bulb has the same size and shape. Meredith will randomly select 2 light bulbs from the box without replacement. Okay? What is the probability that Meredith will select a new light bulb and then a used light bulb? Okay, so this is very important. The order is very, very important here. So first of all, there are 9 new, 6 used. That means there are a total of 15. What is she going to be doing? First, what is the probability Meredith will select a new light bulb? So first, new light bulb. What is the probability? I can select a new light bulb in 9 ways out of 15. Yes? Because there are 9 new bulbs, and then there are a total of 15. So the probability is 9 out of 15. Now, times. Then after that, I'm going to then use a used light bulb. This is important. It says without replacement. If I take one out, how many are left now? Only 14. Now, of those, this is a used light bulb. How many used light bulbs do I have? 6. So the probability of getting a used light bulb is 6 out of 14. So this, you've got to be very careful about this. It's most people think it's 9 out of 15 times 6 out of 15. No, because you've taken one out. If you were to replace it, then it would be 6 out of 15. But because of it's like this, now let's just go ahead and pretty much solve it. It should be pretty straightforward. 3 2s are 6, 3 5s are 15, 2 7s are 15. So what you're left with is 9 out of 5 times 7, 35. This is it. Okay, hope this made sense. Any questions again, let me know. Thank you.